My beloved child, listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal is not ordinary, not common, and not something your mind was prepared for today. You woke up thinking this day would be like any other, with the same doubts, the same questions, and the same silent worries about your future, but something unseen has already shifted in your favor. There is a door opening that you did not knock on, a conversation happening about you that you were not invited to, and a decision being finalized where your name keeps appearing again and again. You may feel unnoticed, overlooked, or underestimated, yet right now, behind closed doors, people you have never met are discussing your abilities with seriousness and intent. This is not luck, and this is not coincidence, because the place you are about to work is connected to a path you once imagined but quietly gave up on. Stay with this moment, because every second from here matters, and every word carries weight, and by the end of this message, you will understand why everything you struggled through was necessary. Before this opportunity came into form, there was a long phase where you felt stuck, repeating the same efforts, sending out energy and effort without clear results, and questioning whether your skills were even seen by the world. You tried to stay strong outwardly, but internally you carried fear about stability, respect, and recognition, wondering if your work would ever place you somewhere meaningful. What you did not know is that your name was already moving silently through channels you never tracked, being mentioned in spaces you never entered, and evaluated by minds that value precision, trust, and potential more than noise. The job you are about to get is not advertised loudly, because it is reserved for those who can handle responsibility without craving attention. This place does not hire in crowds, it selects in silence, and your selection began the moment you proved you could endure uncertainty without quitting. The shock will not be that you got a job, the shock will be where this job is, and what it represents for your future. There is a reason the title of this message feels unbelievable, because the environment you are stepping into operates on a level most people only hear about in fragments. It is a place where professionalism is measured not by how loudly someone speaks, but by how calmly they deliver results. You are not walking into chaos, you are walking into structure, discipline, and precision, where every role matters and every action carries consequence. This workplace will demand the best version of you, not because it is harsh, but because it respects excellence. You will notice that people there move with quiet confidence, decisions are made without drama, and growth happens without announcement. This is why you were prepared slowly, through delays and disappointments, because this position requires emotional maturity as much as skill. The moment you realize where you are sitting, who you are working beside, and what standards are expected, your entire understanding of your own value will change. What makes this moment even more intense is that you were not chasing this place directly, yet it found you anyway. While others were trying to be seen, you were refining yourself in private, learning through mistakes, adjusting through failures, and building patience without applause. That is why this opportunity feels sudden to you but perfectly timed to the system bringing you in. The role you are stepping into is not temporary, not experimental, and not based on guesswork. It exists because there is a real need, and you match it more closely than anyone else who was considered. The conversations around you now are serious, detailed, and intentional, and once you enter this space, you will feel a level of respect that you may not have experienced before. This is not about ego, it is about alignment, because the work you are about to do fits the way your mind thinks and the way your discipline operates. Now listen to this final truth of this part very carefully, because it sets the tone for everything that follows. When you finally understand where you are about to work, you will realize that this is not just a job, it is a turning point. It will shift how people see you, how you see yourself, and how secure your future begins to feel. The disbelief will come not from fear, but from gratitude mixed with shock, because deep down you once wondered if you were aiming too high. You were not aiming high enough. What is coming next will explain the nature of this workplace, the reason you were chosen over others, and the exact moment when this opportunity became irreversible. Do not lose focus now, because the next part reveals what most people never get to hear until it is already too late. There is something important you must understand now, because once this truth settles in your mind, you will stop doubting whether you deserve what is unfolding. The place you are about to work does not function like ordinary workplaces where people compete loudly for validation. This environment operates on trust, discretion, and long-term vision, which is exactly why it stayed hidden from your expectations. While you were imagining offices, buildings, desks, and routine schedules, this opportunity was forming around influence, responsibility, and impact. The reason it feels unbelievable is because this workplace values who you are becoming, not just what you have done so far. You were observed through your consistency, your reactions under pressure, and your ability to stay focused even when recognition was delayed. That is why this offer is arriving quietly but powerfully, because it is designed to last, not to impress for a moment. What makes this even more shocking is that many people around you would never guess this is where you are headed. They saw your struggles but never imagined your silence was preparation. They heard your doubts but never noticed your discipline. In this place, your background matters less than your mindset, and your past mistakes are not disqualifications but data points. You are stepping into a role where learning is constant, standards are high, and excuses hold no value. At first, you may feel a subtle pressure, not from fear, but from realizing that you are finally surrounded by people who take their work as seriously as you do. This is where growth accelerates, because mediocrity cannot survive here, and potential is treated as responsibility. The moment you enter, you will sense that this is not a phase, but a foundation being laid for something much larger. There will be a moment, very soon, when you look around and realize that everything here runs with intention. Every conversation has purpose. Every instruction has depth. Every expectation is clear, even when it is not spoken loudly. This workplace does not chase trends or shortcuts, because it builds systems that outlast noise. That is why you were selected, because you do not panic when results take time, and you do not lose direction when clarity is delayed. Your role here will stretch you, refine you, and demand precision, but it will also give you stability, respect, and a sense of belonging that comes from being trusted. This is not about working harder, it is about working smarter, with accountability and vision guiding every step you take. What you are about to experience next will surprise you emotionally, because the validation you receive here will not come through praise, but through responsibility. You will be trusted with tasks that others are not, included in discussions that shape outcomes, and given access to information that requires maturity to handle. This is how you will know you are in the right place. The silence here is not emptiness, it is focus. The structure here is not restriction, it is freedom to perform without distraction. Slowly, you will notice your confidence changing, not because you are told you are capable, but because your actions will start proving it to you every single day. This is where self-doubt fades, replaced by clarity and purpose. Hold this final thought firmly as this part comes to a close, because it prepares you for what is about to be revealed next. The disbelief you feel right now is only the surface reaction. The deeper shock will come when you realize how closely this opportunity aligns with a dream you once dismissed as unrealistic. You did not miss your chance, it was being delayed to protect you until you were ready. In the next part, you will understand how this workplace connects to your long-term future, why this timing is exact, and what changes forever the moment you say yes. Do not look away now, because the truth unfolding next is what transforms this job into a destiny-level shift. There is a deeper layer to this opportunity that you have not yet considered, and once you see it clearly, your disbelief will turn into quiet certainty. This workplace is not just offering you a position, it is placing you inside a system where growth is intentional and futures are designed, not guessed. You are entering an environment where long-term planning matters more than short-term wins, and where people are chosen because they can be trusted with progression, not just performance. The reason this feels unreal is because most people never get access to such spaces unless they already belong to a certain circle. You were invited not because of who you know, but because of how you think, how you adapt, and how you remain steady when outcomes are uncertain. This is the kind of place that shapes careers quietly and changes lives slowly but permanently. At first, you may underestimate the importance of where you are standing, because nothing dramatic will be announced. There will be no loud celebrations, no exaggerated promises, and no unnecessary attention drawn to your arrival. Instead, you will notice subtle signals that reveal everything, such as the way decisions are shared with you, the way your opinion is requested, and the way responsibility is placed in your hands without hesitation. This is how trust is shown here. You are not being tested to see if you can survive, you are being positioned to see how far you can grow. Every task you receive will carry meaning, and every expectation will be a step towards something bigger that is already planned ahead of time. This is where your work begins to matter beyond daily effort. What will surprise you most is how this role starts influencing your life outside of work as well. Your mindset will sharpen. Your discipline will strengthen. Your sense of direction will become clearer, because you will no longer be guessing where you are headed. This workplace will demand focus, but it will also give you clarity, because here, results are connected to systems, not chaos. You will begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles, simply because you are now operating in an environment that teaches you how to think ahead. This is not pressure meant to break you, it is structure designed to support you. Slowly, stability will replace anxiety, and confidence will replace hesitation. There will come a quiet moment, perhaps at the end of a long day, when you realize something important has shifted within you. You will understand that this job is not a stepping stone you rush through, but a foundation you build upon. The people around you are not temporary colleagues, they are part of a network that values consistency and commitment. This realization will feel heavy and empowering at the same time, because it confirms that you are no longer chasing direction, you are walking in it. You will feel the weight of responsibility, but also the relief of knowing you are finally where you belong. This is when the disbelief turns into gratitude. As this part closes, keep your attention sharp, because what comes next explains the real impact of this role on your future. There is a reason this opportunity arrived now and not earlier. There is a reason you were prepared through delay and silence. In the next part, the connection between this workplace and your long-term stability will become clear, and you will see how one decision sets off a chain reaction that changes everything. Do not lose focus now, because the truth ahead is what transforms this job into a defining chapter of your life. Now the picture begins to widen, and this is where everything you have heard so far starts to connect with real, tangible change. This workplace is not focused on keeping people busy, it is focused on building people who can be relied upon for years, not months. You are stepping into a role that grows with you, one that evolves as your understanding deepens and your confidence stabilizes. The reason this opportunity feels heavy is because it carries continuity, not uncertainty. Here, effort is noticed even when it is quiet, and consistency is rewarded without being announced. This is the kind of place where careers are protected, not exhausted, and where people are guided instead of replaced. Once you recognize this, you will stop fearing the future, because you will finally see how secure paths are formed. As time passes inside this environment, you will realize that your growth is being monitored in a way that is supportive, not invasive. Feedback here is precise, calm, and meant to refine, not to discourage. Mistakes are addressed directly, but without humiliation, because the goal is progress, not pressure. You will begin to trust the system you are part of, and more importantly, you will begin to trust yourself again. This is where many people transform silently, because they are given space to improve without constant judgment. The standards are high, but they are clear, and clarity removes fear. Slowly, your work will speak louder than your words, and your presence will carry weight without effort. There is another shift that will surprise you, and it will happen without warning. People who once doubted your direction will begin to notice changes in the way you carry yourself. Your decisions will become firmer. Your boundaries will become clearer. Your patience will deepen, because you are no longer desperate for outcomes. This job will give you something rare, which is the ability to plan ahead without anxiety. When your foundation feels stable, your mind becomes free to think bigger, and that is when real growth begins. You will not need to explain your progress to anyone, because it will show in how you move, how you speak, and how you choose your next steps. What truly sets this place apart is that it does not promise quick success, it builds lasting relevance. You are being shaped for a role that will remain valuable even as environments change. Skills here are transferable, discipline here is respected, and experience here carries weight beyond these walls. This is why the selection process felt invisible, because only those who can sustain growth are considered. You were not chosen for speed, you were chosen for endurance. That understanding alone will change how you view your own journey, because you will finally see that nothing was wasted, not even the waiting. Now comes the realization that changes everything, because this is where the true weight of this opportunity finally settles in your mind. The place you are about to work does not only shape your present, it quietly positions your future in ways you cannot yet fully see. Every system here is connected to a larger network of influence, credibility, and long-term relevance. This is why entry is rare and timing is precise. You are not being brought in to fill a gap, you are being placed where growth is expected and expansion is planned. Once you understand this, the disbelief shifts into responsibility, because you realize that your actions here will echo far beyond daily tasks. This is not pressure meant to overwhelm you, it is trust placed carefully in someone who has already proven resilience. There will be a moment when you understand that access itself is the advantage. Access to information, access to guidance, and access to people who operate with clarity instead of confusion. This environment does not teach through noise, it teaches through exposure, allowing you to observe how decisions are made, how risks are calculated, and how stability is maintained even during uncertainty. Slowly, your perspective will expand, and you will begin to think beyond immediate results. This is how professionals are formed at a higher level, not by rushing success, but by understanding systems. You will notice that your confidence grows quietly, because it is rooted in knowledge, not hope. That is when you realize this job is not an endpoint, it is an elevation. What will surprise you most is how naturally you adapt to this space, as if something within you recognizes it. The discipline you built during uncertain times will suddenly make sense. The patience you were forced to develop will now feel like strength. You will stop questioning whether you belong here, because your work will answer that question for you. This place will not constantly reassure you, but it will consistently rely on you, and reliance is the highest form of validation. With every responsibility you handle, your role becomes clearer, and your future more defined. You are no longer preparing for stability, you are living inside it. Another subtle shift will occur, and it will be felt rather than announced. Your fear of being replaced will fade, because this role is built on contribution, not competition. Here, value is measured by consistency and integrity, not by comparison. You will understand that growth here is cumulative, meaning every effort adds to something permanent. This understanding changes how you approach work, how you manage time, and how you respect your own capacity. You will no longer chase opportunities blindly, because you will recognize which ones align with the foundation you are building. This clarity is rare, and it is earned, not given. As this part closes, take a breath and absorb what this truly means. You are not stepping into uncertainty, you are stepping into alignment. Everything you endured prepared you for this level of responsibility and trust. In the next and final part, the full picture becomes unmistakable, revealing why this job feels unbelievable and why this moment marks a permanent shift in your life's direction. Stay present, because what comes next is the confirmation you did not know you were waiting for. This is where everything finally becomes clear, and the disbelief you felt at the beginning transforms into calm acceptance. You are not just about to work somewhere impressive, you are stepping into a space that changes how your life moves forward from this point on. The job you are about to get connects stability with purpose, growth with structure, and ambition with patience. This is why it arrived when it did, not earlier and not later. You needed to become steady before you could be trusted with something that lasts. When you look back, you will realize that every delay, every closed door, and every silent period was shaping you for this exact alignment. Nothing was random, and nothing was wasted. Once you fully settle into this role, you will notice how naturally your life begins to organize itself. Your decisions will feel clearer. Your priorities will feel grounded. Your future will stop feeling like a question mark and start feeling like a plan. This workplace will not control you, it will support you, providing a framework where effort leads to progress and consistency leads to recognition. You will feel respected not because you demand it, but because you earn it daily through reliability and clarity. This is the kind of environment where people build reputations that follow them for years, and you are now part of that flow. The most powerful shift will happen internally, and it will be quiet but permanent. You will stop measuring yourself against others, because you will finally see your own path clearly. Confidence will come from competence, not from comparison. You will trust your timing, your skills, and your decisions more deeply than ever before. This job will teach you that success does not need to be rushed to be real. It needs to be sustained. That lesson alone will change how you approach everything that comes next in your life. There will be a day, not far from now, when you realize how unbelievable this moment truly was. You will remember the uncertainty you once carried and compare it to the stability you now live in. That contrast will remind you how far you have come. You will not feel the need to prove anything to anyone, because your progress will speak without effort. This is when gratitude replaces anxiety, and clarity replaces fear. You will know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. This is the closing truth of this journey. You were not chosen by chance, and you are not stepping into this role by accident. You are entering a chapter that was prepared for you through patience, discipline, and quiet resilience. The place you are about to work is not just impressive, it is aligned with who you have become. This is why it feels unbelievable, and this is why it will change everything. Now you begin to understand something even deeper, something most people never realize until much later in life. This job is not only about what you do each day, it is about the identity you are quietly stepping into. The environment you are entering reshapes how you see responsibility, time, and self-worth. You will notice that your standards rise naturally, not because someone forces you, but because the space around you demands clarity and integrity. This is where you stop reacting to life and start directing it. The disbelief fades further, replaced by a calm certainty that you are no longer drifting. You are anchored, and that changes everything. Very soon, you will recognize how this role protects your future without making noise about it. Security here is not fragile or temporary, it is built through systems, trust, and long-term intent. You will feel it in the way plans are discussed months ahead, in the way growth paths are mapped quietly, and in the way stability is treated as a priority, not a reward. This is why this opportunity feels rare. It does not gamble with people's lives or futures. It invests carefully, and now you are part of that investment. This realization alone will remove a weight you have carried for years without noticing. Another subtle transformation will take place, and it will surprise you how natural it feels. You will begin thinking beyond survival and start thinking about legacy. Not in dramatic terms, but in practical ones, such as skills that compound, decisions that last, and choices that protect your time and energy. This job will sharpen your awareness of what truly matters. Distractions will lose their pull, and unnecessary noise will fade into the background. You will feel more present, more focused, and more intentional, because your foundation no longer feels uncertain. Stability creates vision, and vision creates momentum. You may not speak about this change openly, but others will sense it. They will notice the steadiness in your voice, the patience in your reactions, and the confidence in your silence. You will no longer feel the need to explain your journey, because you are no longer seeking validation. The work itself will validate you. This is what happens when someone finally aligns with the right place at the right time. Growth stops being exhausting and starts becoming sustainable. You will feel this shift deeply, even if you never put it into words.